What's up, YouTube? This is the No Lower Cap podcast, and today we'll be discussing the spring 2025 animes we've watched so far.
Yo, what's good, people? Welcome back to the No Level Cap podcast with all your friendly neighborhood black nerds, where we cover all the anime, all the gaming, all the nerd culture, zero of the BS. Back with a new episode every Monday morning. I am your host, Sage Ashford. These are my co-hosts, Devin Butts, Terrence Flowers, Rakeem Beck. This week, we're coming at you with a new twist on an old idea. The subtitle for this episode is called the 3-episode rule. Each of us have watched a few of the spring anime, and we will see if it passes the test of being kept up with. Let's start with Terrence, man. What do you got for us?
All right. So I'll just first off, I'll say that the spring anime season, I'm going to talk about just two anime, but man, there's a lot in this season. And whenever people say like, oh man, anime don't hit like it used to, or like, man, there's just seem like there's nothing good to watch. I'm like, you all are crazy. Like, it's okay to age out of fandom. Like, if you don't like anime as much as you used to, that's fine. But to say that anime isn't as good as what it used to be, I think that that's absurd. But I'm going to get off my soapbox on that one. So the first show I'm going to talk about that I'm sure is a highlight for a lot of people is Lazarus. And Lazarus, for those that don't know, it's being animated by MAPPA, and it's from Shinichiro Watanabe.
Yep.
The director of the creator of Cowboy Bebop, Samurai Champloo, and a bunch of other shows, legendary anime director. This show so far, if you've ever wanted like a spiritual successor to Cowboy Bebop, I think this is kind of it. Like, it's not so much in the space department, just because I think they're on I actually don't remember if they're on Earth or they're like a space colony. I think maybe they're in a space colony. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. But
it takes place in the same universe as Cowboy Bebop, and I think it's not too far off timeline-wise. So, yeah, it's space involved.
They said that I believe in the show, they explicitly said that the year is 2049, I think. I think that's what they said.
That's a bit of a gap. So, because Cowboy Bebop takes place in 2072.
Oh, okay. So we're getting there. But anyway, the setup for Lazarus is that in this world, there's this painkiller that's been developed by this scientist that essentially, well, I said painkiller. That's essentially what it is, just a painkiller. They don't go into detail as to, I guess, what exactly it nullifies, but everybody in the world is taking it pretty much. Like,
they made it sound like it was like a cure-all.
Yeah, I don't think it's a cure-all, but it's more like people just don't feel pain in that they used to. Like, I guess if you get older, you have those back pain and knee pains and everything, this takes that away. So yeah, they haven't from what I remember, they didn't go into too much detail as to what specifically it did, but it was just a drug that everyone used. And the scientist, after developing the drug, he realizes that humanity has essentially abused it. Like, they see this drug as a way of them the way he sees it is that humanity is essentially no longer human, that people have lost their humanity because of this drug. And as a result, he goes away for like a long time, I think a couple of years. And then he just suddenly comes back and he announces to everyone, hey, remember that drug that you took years ago? Guess what? Now you've taken, since everybody's taken it, you have 30 days before you all die. And if you find me somewhere in the world, wherever I am, if you happen to find me before then, I will give you the cure. But if you can't find me, then everybody is going to die. And he said, even like timeline wise, those that were like the early adopters of fentanyl, you're going to start to see them die within like the next week. So the timer is ticking. And so we fast forward to this prison where this prisoner named Alex, if I'm not mistaken, who's essentially Spike Spiegel on steroids. Like, this dude was schmoovin', man. Like, when I say Spike Spiegel on steroids, I mean, like, you have all the Jeet Kune Do stuff going on with Jeet Kune Do, I think that's how it's pronounced, going on with Spike. Yeah. And pretty much he takes that and it's just times 10. Like, dude moves, or like the animation on the movement alone for this episode is incredible. And we find out that he has like this huge life sentence for like 888 years or something like that. And
God dang.
in the next episode, they talk about how he got and everything, and I'll just explain it here. Essentially, he was so good at breaking out of prison that he just kept doing it. And each time you break out of prison in this world, they double your sentence. So you break. He started off with 3 years, essentially double to 6, and 6 double to 36, and it just kept going from there. So that also tells you how many times that he's broken out of prison. And in the first episode, he breaks out of prison. But the reason for that, if I back up a little bit, is there's this lady at the prison who approaches him that wants him to join this group. And essentially this group is trying to seek the scientists. They're trying to find him. And you find out in the second episode that a bunch of these people, they are like specialized in their own thing. There's one that's like a hacker. There's one who's pretty much like a Faye Valentine-like to an extent. Since it's only 2 episodes in, we haven't gotten that much characterization on every character, but you see some things in them from these 2 episodes. There's a black guy who is more like he's a bit more morally higher than everyone else. Everyone else, you can kind of tell they're not really good guys. They've all done their own thing. Heck, the character that's a hacker, she's like this teenage girl, and she seems innocent enough, but come to find out that she's probably done so much hacking that she might be the most dangerous one out of all of them, because her sentence, like if she were to get caught, her sentence would be like out the wazoo. But anyway, the whole purpose of this group is getting them all together with their specialized skill set to find the scientists, that way that they can find a cure. And of course, all of them have taken the drug that the scientists made. So that's another reason why all of them need to find them. So it seems like what this anime is going to be is a race to find this scientist and like all the stuff that happens along the way. I will say, first off, this show is very well animated. Like Mappa is putting in work on this one, much like they do with everything else. The music, oh man, this, you can definitely tell this is made by the same person that did Cowboy Bebop. Man, the music is so good. I think they already have some of it on streaming services, so you all can check out that way too. Like the opening theme is really good. The ending theme is really good. The music that takes place throughout the show, like the OST, is really good. So far, I have to say that this was worth the hype. Like, this is one of the spring anime that everybody should be paying attention to. I think that, of course, if it doesn't crap out in the long run, because it could still do that this could be one of the ones that's talked about in like the discussion of anime of the year. So yeah, this is one to look out for. I'll put it that way. If any of what I said sounds interesting, you should definitely check out Lazarus. It's on Adult Swim, and on the next day, it's on HBO Max, or just Max as it's called now. Okay. Real quick, what were you gonna say?
I'll say okay.
Oh, okay.
Answer.
Yeah. The next anime I'll talk about is one that what's up?
We can break that up.
Okay, we're just doing one round apiece.
Yeah.
Okay, then that's cool. Then I'll just leave that for there now.
I will say that you got me when you said it's just like it's a spiritual successor to Cowboy Bebop. I was like, well, I've been waiting for that for 20 years. So I mean, it sounded like you got me.
Yeah, it feels that way to me anyway.
Yeah, that show looks fire.
Yeah, I'm locked in on there. Rakeem, what's your first anime?
So my first anime is going to be To Be Hero X, the Chinese anime. It was one that was very hyped up during the season. I love this, but it is not what I expected. It is nothing like what I expected. So I would say watching this anime, the animation reminds me a lot of Arcane, where you have a 3D animation in certain aspects. It actually kind of looks similar to Arcane in some areas. And then there's areas where they change the animation drastically to emphasize certain scenes, certain musical changes and things like that. But the premise of this show in the beginning is that you have the main character. I do not remember his name. I'm not going to butcher his name because it's Chinese.
Lin
Ling. Okay.
Yeah, I also watched it.
Very good. He basically works for an advertising company for superheroes, like the marketing campaign for a superhero. In this world, superheroes are like, figures, basically like social media figures, big figures, people, they have fans and things like that.
They kind of went the Tiger and Bunny route, huh?
Tiger and Bunny.
Oh,
yeah, okay.
Did they?
That's
did they?
Okay.
Oh, it goes even further. So he's worked for an advertising firm, this protagonist. And he's trying to get a new advertisement strategy for their main guy, like the big guy who's like the main advertising superhero they folks, this dude named Nice, pretty boy, white hair, professional dancer turned superhero. And he's like the big advertising guy. And he's trying to get this new campaign started. His boss is not having it. He said, man, this is trash. This is garbage. We're not doing this. Fuck you, basically. He's just like, no, man, I think we can really make this work. You know what? Shut the fuck up. And then basically he finds out that he gets a call, the manager gets a call that the advertising campaign that he didn't like, that he's like, he doesn't like from this dude, it already got sent to their boss. And so he just fires the guy. It's like, man, you're fired, bro. Get the fuck out. And so dude's basically like lamenting his life. He's like, man, this is trash. He's on a rooftop. It didn't look like he was trying to commit suicide. Like he was just venting, and he just looks at a sign of Nice. He flips a dude off. He's like, man, you got this fine ass girlfriend that I love, and everybody love you, man. F you. I ain't got no job. I just spent my life just advertising and making you look good. F you. So then Nice just shows up, walks right past him, comes down flying like the White Ranger from that one scene, comes by the dude, does this, and then jumps off a building and kills himself. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck happened? Yep. They fast forward, and the advertising agency is like, what happened? He said, he just killed himself. We see that. You got a dead body. He just jumped off the building. But that's our cash cow. We ain't finna lose our cash cow. So the advertising lady, who's one of the main characters, who like sets up everything, she's like, close enough. You look like him. So basically, she like turns him into Nice. They like take him in. He looks like him physically, changes hair color, and he's like, I don't have any powers. And that's how you find out how the power system in this universe works. They literally get their powers from popularity. The having fans, I think they have a term for them that they use. It's like fans or whatever. They curate their popularity you get allows you to get powers. And in certain circumstances, how they like you and like how you got popular determines what your powers are. For instance, Nice was a dancer, so his powers revolve around agility, flight, movement. There's a girl later who became popular off of being a travel blogger, so her power is teleportation. So like there's a feedback loop of getting popular and getting, as you get more popular, you become more powerful. And there's a hierarchy that's created from that. And so the advertising agencies feed off of that to not only create their heroes, but keep them popular so they can make money, basically. And so he's figuring out all this out. He goes through a training montage. They turn him into the Nice dude. And eventually he has to meet Nice's girlfriend, who is also a superhero. And then who he actually likes secretly, he always had a crush on when he was a normal dude. So they go through that path, and then something happens when he's on this talk show where there's like somebody who flipped the script, and there's a guy who's answering questions. The guy who's supposed to ask questions isn't the person who's answering the questions, and that's how the villains kind of get introduced to this show. This dude kind of knows something's up with this. It's like a character who's trying to reveal what's happening and like, are y'all really dating? You know, are you really a hero? Things like that. But he answers the question so truthfully, he's able to pass the test. Meanwhile, while that's going on, way back, the dude who created the advertising or the dude who was over the advertising agency who fired him shows back up. He got fired and he's pissed because of the advertisement he sent out. He lost his job and now he's bare for revenge. He's trying to attack Nice.
Damn, I guess that shit was trash.
Man. I guess it was. I guess it was trash. And that's how you feel out how the villains get their powers. So his anger and fear and how he put fear on all his workers gave him supervillain powers. But how he treated everybody poorly and how they felt scared of him, he actually developed villain powers. So that's how villains develop powers in this universe. But yeah, that was really interesting. That was the first episode. They were able to defeat that guy, the dude who's acting like Nice. He was able to replicate what he did and defeat him. Fantastic animation. They switch in certain fight scenes to like traditional animation, and it still looks good. They switch, and it still looks really good. Like the whole show looks really good. And in the second episode, he meets Nice's girlfriend. You find out that's a facade too. Everything about this dude's life, the heroes, everything is a facade. The girl can't leave because she signed a contract. She's a free spirit. She doesn't want to be there. Interesting enough, when he first comes there, he looks at the bed and sees like she's dead. He wakes up in the morning, she's alive. So he's like, what the hell was that? So you might have some ability to see into the future or something like that. He finds out that the advertising agency made their relationship up to, up the popularity, and so they live together basically by force, and they can't leave to fit this fake relationship kind of situation. But over time, because he actually really liked this girl in the past, it's the same girl he had a crush on. They develop an actual friendship, and he kind of understanding of her. He's very nice to her, and then they come up with a plan eventually to write her out of this relationship. So it's becomes kind of like Truman Show. There's an element of this where the cameras are always on them, their everyday life, things that are going on, and it's shot that way, like it's the Truman Show. And so he creates an angle where a villain comes and kills her on screen so you can write her off the show so she can have a normal life. And that turns out to be wacky because the villain that showed up was a character who was paid to fight nice over and over again, was his best friend growing up, and he knows something's up. It's like, you ain't nice, bro. I know nice. We grew up together. Who are you? And so even the villains they fight, all that was orchestrated. Like everything they did was orchestrated. But in this case, he ends up fighting the villain to save the girl, so he doesn't actually kill her, but fake the death anyway. So she was able to get written off, and we find out more about the secret organizations trying to reveal what's happening. But man, I cannot tell y'all, this show was awesome. Like way different from what I expected. Did not, anything I expected to happen happened. The idea behind the power system based on your popularity and it curating how you live your life, that was really interesting. This Truman Show aspect where they're always on television and they create the storylines of their life to keep popularity up. That shit was cool as hell. That was my favorite show I watched of all the animes I watched this week, by far. To Be Hero X, give it a shot.
You sold me. There's so much
you
going
definitely
on.
sold me as well. I've been hearing a lot about it. I've been hearing that it is definitely one of the better anime of this season. So, hey, again, this season is stacked.
Yeah. And Dev, you say you saw it too?
Yeah, I watched it.
What'd you think, Devin?
Fantastic. I watched another one, but I probably would talk about it too because it was really good. Like King said, I was not expecting how it worked and everything. I was just like, man, this is one of the most interesting things I've ever seen. It's almost kind of gave me the Boys vibes of how there's this ain't just superhero stuff. There's extra stuff, almost political advertising stuff going on in the background.
Yeah, it's like the Boys or something, not dicks.
Yeah. Well, I guess we only seen what two. Well, she was kind of rowdy to him. It's like, dang,
a little bit, but it was understandable. She just didn't want to do that no more.
Yeah. Even you mentioned the guy, the guy that was over him. Did you listen to the name of his attacks? Deadline. He shot that Iron Man Unibeam. He's like, Deadline.
Oh,
and he was shooting out those letters, termination letter.
Termination
everybody
letter,
was getting killed in the crowd.
Yeah, I do remember that.
He said something else too, but all his attacks were based off firing people and how he treated people. It's so good. Even you remember he hit fear with that attack, and his fear started to come up his body, almost like some scarecrow type stuff. But he was like, I gotta believe in myself, and he knocked it off. Yeah, that show's pretty good, man. I like it so far. Yeah. But the one I want to talk about, I saw this one on the list. I'm like, this looks cool. I want to try this out. It's Yaiba Samurai Legend.
I'm glad one of us did. I'm glad. Yeah.
When I tell you, I enjoyed this, and I didn't realize this was an older anime. Now it makes sense with the animation because I'm getting Rama 1/2 vibes with the goofiness and stuff, and I'm getting Dragon Ball vibes, OG Dragon Ball vibes, because he looks like Goku, and his father, they kind of got a Goku thing going on, and of course he even acts like Goku. He's like this kid walking around, the little chick that he follows, he walking into the locker room with her, putting the dress up. He's like, he says something stupid, and she punched him. I'm like, it's this Goku and Bulma all over again. Seemed like, but yeah, this. I when I watched these first two episodes, I'm like, yeah, this is what I thought it was gonna be, and I'm absolutely in love with it. We even got a rival character that looks almost just like Tien. He has a little thing in his head, in the middle of his head, and everything. I was like, okay, so he's just doing Dragon Ball here. But yeah, it starts off there in the jungle somewhere. They're doing training with the Yaiba. He's apparently kind of this little prodigy, upcoming samurai. He's out there with his father. And they're fighting, just straight up fighting, just jungle creatures. Big gorilla come out of nowhere. He's like, hey, bro, I don't care about all that big, strong, beat on your chest. I'm gonna pop you on top of the head with this stick, and that's gonna be it. You know, it's to the point that where he even has like two sidekicks, like this. What's that bird? Is it a
buzzard?
A buzzard. He's got a buzzard and he got a tiger. And apparently, I think at one point he even I guess showed them the work. He's like, hey man, we your friend now, bro. We don't want no more to smoke. we got you.
Yeah. They had a scene with the tiger Kagetora trying to sneak up on him, and he just whooped him up. And then after that, it was like, all right, well, we cool now.
He's like, we cool, bro. Hey, I got you. The bird. He's like, man, you need to go somewhere. I got you. Fly somewhere, man. So it's like you see, like he's like an enduring little character. He's very much so one, like I said, the Goku trope where he's just, well, yeah, to a point, because he is a little.
Second episode was out of pocket.
Yeah. Like I said, when he went into the school, he followed her, and he's like, "What did he say? Something?" He said, "My father said that women like this type of stuff," and it's like she just punched him. I'm like, "All right, bro. So I guess you and your father a little interesting."
Yeah.
But I think in the first episode they go to like this dojo where they're training. They got this little old lady who almost looks just like what's that witch from Dragon Ball? Baba. I'm like, okay, I'm seeing, but again, it was like from '93, so I kind of get the closeness of how these characters are looking. And Yaiba comes in there. He's just this little. He's like, yeah, man, I want to be the best. I want to come in there. I want to fight. And the little lady, she puts him up against this guy. He's big, tall, strong.
No. Hold on. How did it? You got to talk about how it happened. He was like, I want to face somebody, and they was like, I mean, I guess you can face somebody, and then like, how we gonna pick? And then the dad showed up and was like, well, I'll tell you what. And he just started smacking random dudes on the head in the dojo.
Right.
And finally, he caught the one guy that like blocked the blow without even looking. And he was like, that guy, fight that guy.
So yeah, this guy supposed to be kind of like one of the creme de la creme. He's like, man, this little kid, man, why y'all make quick work of this little kid? And y'all was like, yeah, I want to fight. So they having a back and forth. It's like he's dodging everything. Like nobody's really making any contact. And then all of a sudden, Yaiba remembers when he fought Gorilla, he did something where he like turned around. He just kind of used like his instinctual combat prowess, right? So the guy's like, turn around on me? Man, this disrespectful. Man, he tried to hit Yaiba, bro. Yaiba turn around, do this crazy move. He hits him, and this guy, he sent him through the roof. Yaiba hits him so hard with that stick, he sends this fully grown man and sticks him into the roof. And everybody's like, because the old lady's like, this kid ain't going, what is this kid doing? And she's like, oh, my bad. I was unfamiliar with your game. I'm sorry. I was unfamiliar with your game. So yeah, they continue on. I forgot the little girl's name that he's always he's pestering. Because there's a scene where they're like walking together in the street, and these other girls come up to Yaiba, and they're all on him. He's like, yeah, man, girls, and she punches him. He's like, what are you doing? Like, what I'm saying? You cock blocking over. I'm trying to, So they get this. Yeah, that's her.
Ayaka, yeah.
So they get to school, and all of a sudden they show like he's like whatever, but he sees they have a class that like they get in full garb and stuff like that, and he's like, oh yeah, this where I want to be. This only spot I want to be. So they start getting dressed, and this is when they introduce like his rival character. What is his name? Onimaru.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm gonna just call him 10 because he literally looks like 10. So he's like apparently like the star student. He's just like he's got that air about him. I'm Onimaru, and I'm the best. And like Yaiba's just like, I want to fight. Oh, you the best? Let's fight. He's like, I don't have time for you, little scrub. He's like, keeps avoiding him. He's like, bro, I don't want to fight you. He's literally like, you're a waste of my time.
He really should have just fought him.
He really should have. He's like,
second episode, my God.
That second episode, he should have fought him because he got to work. He's like, you a waste of my time, kid. Like, bro, I'm him. I'm Timothy Henderson. Like, I don't want to fight you. You a waste of my time. So I'm gonna skip a little bit ahead. They finally fight, and that one scene reminded me of the scene between Rama and his father when they were transformed in their street, and how they was going through their street just chaos.
The fight choreography in this show is insane.
It is, man. I promise you. When I saw that trailer, I was like, oh yeah, I like this like modernized old school 90s style. But that's why I said it reminded me of Rama, because like these fights are crazy. Like they throwing hands. Well, they sticks or swords or whatever, but they throwing hands, man. So they finally fight. They going down the street. They tearing up everything. Like they finally end off on a truck. Like it's the Matrix Reloaded on a truck fighting. And Yaiba's like, dang, this kid actually kind of, I ain't gonna lie, this kid kind of cold. I ain't gonna lie. I thought I was gonna swash him, but he's kind of cold. So Yaiba gets the upper hand on him. And this kid is so wild. He bites Onimaru because Onimaru already has a injury on his head.
Yeah.
And he bites him on the injury. And Onimaru's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, he's bleeding and stuff. He's like, you are a wild child. So he beats him. Onimaru's, he's on his knees, like, dang, I really lost it, this kid. And then Yaiba hits a sign on the highway.
Straight up like, Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry type shit.
Straight up Looney Tunes.
Like he wins the fight and then immediately gets hit by like a traffic sign.
Just like, so I'm gonna skip a little bit to the second episode. So from this loss, of course, Onimaru, his pride is hurt because he's like, bro, how did I lose? It's the Vegeta thing. How did I lose to a commoner? This commoner soldier. That's basically what he's going through right now. So he's training extra hard. He's like, I can't let this go, man. I got to bite this kid. There's no way I should have lost to this little scrub. You know, I've trained. I am the top of my class. So he goes on this whole thing. He's training more. They're at this dojo. You know, he's like, man, I just got to put everything into my training. So skip ahead to what's basically gonna set this show up, I feel, for the rest of it. He's outside training. He like slashes like a stone piece in half with just a wooden sword. So I'm like, okay, he's serious. But when he slashes it, it falls onto the ground, and there was something concealed under the ground. It's stairwell. He's like, stairwell. So he goes down and he sees like these Oni looking statues and stuff. And I'm thinking like, bro, I don't think you need to be down here, because that was hidden for a reason. He goes up, he sees this sword. And he hears his voice. He's like, I'm like, bro, I think you might need to leave, bro, because I don't think anything good gonna come from down here. So what happens is the sword is like it's like compelling him to grab the sword. He grabs the sword, and of course, you know what happened next. Power comes out. He's like, ah! That whole spiel, you know, typical spiel. Grabs something curse comes out. He gets all powerful now. He grows horns. He got the little demon tooth come out. And so now basically it's going to turn from just like two rivals to probably some supernatural stuff going on, trying to destroy the world. But I tell you, I'm loving what I've seen so far. It is fun. It's goofy action. Characters are like pretty cool. The main character, like I said, he's a little endearing, but he's a goofball. He's a little reckless. You know,
that brother was a menace in that second episode.
Like I said, biting somebody.
When I tell you Onimaru did not want to fight him, he was like, look, I'm not fighting no child. It would just make me worse as a swordsman. And Yaiba was like, oh, you ain't gonna fight no child, huh? Oh, you gonna fight me. And like stole all of his equipment.
I just remembered that.
Hid it all, had like all these ninja traps every time he tried to get it. And then like finally he like, I think it was his helmet.
The helmet.
He like threw the helmet off like the top of the high school. And Onimaru chased after it, grabbed the helmet, landed on the ground, but it was actually a trap under there. He falls into a giant hole, and Onimaru just rolls a stone or some shit over. It's just like, hey, man, you don't want to fight me. You can stay down there, and just dipped on him.
That was hilarious, man. That's what made him fed up.
Until he forced the fight. And then, like, even that, like, he showed up at Yaiba's place. Or not really his place, but Sayaka's place, because like he gets his own place is weird. But he shows up at Yaiba's place, and Yaiba's tiger is like, hey man, who is this? I don't trust him. Tries to fight him. So like Onimaru beats up the tiger, beats up Kagetora, and like Yaiba comes later. It's just like, and he beat up my tiger? Nah, he got to run the fade with me, and that's what eventually kicks off the fight.
Yep. The scene with the birds was hilarious too. When he was up in there with those birds, and he thought that buzzard had ate those birds. He's like, what? Ate my bird? Oh, it's on now, man.
Ate their food, beat them up. He showed, because it was so wild like that the buzzard showed up, ate all his birds' food, and then had the birds over there just with black eyes and stuff, because I guess he whooped their ass. I'm like, I guess that makes sense. A buzzard is bigger than a pigeon, so I mean, you know, it is. But yeah, fantastic show. That was definitely one of the ones that I watched. I rocked with it heavy.
Oh yeah.
One of my picks is Mobile Suit Gundam GQuuuuuX or Gundam Duck, as a friend of mine called it.
I still need to watch it.
It is fantastic. What's up,
All right.
It sounded like you was about to say something, Terrence.
Oh, I was just gonna say I technically have watched it just because I watched it in theaters. Because right now there are 2 episodes in, and 2 of those episodes are from the theatrical release. Because the theatrical release, I guess, it was just the first 3 episodes essentially. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If you don't know anything about it, it's basically a reimagining of the Universal Century, like the 1-year war. It kicks off. Effectively, what happens is in this timeline, Char found the Gundam early and became the pilot of the Gundam. And then just after that, Zeon eventually just won.
They would just win. Yeah, that's what would happen.
But yeah, the first episode takes place like a decade into the future. Oh, no, my bad. Just a few, like 5 years into the future. Basically, we don't know what happened to Char, or like we do know what happened to Char. He's like in the Gundam, which he painted red, of course. And he's like vanished. There's some stuff that happened and he vanished. And like his partner, his friend, is like looking for him. He can't find him. And the Gundam, like Char hasn't contacted anybody. He's just flying from place to place. He's just flying from place to place, and nobody knows how to find him. Nobody knows how to stop him. And so like eventually they take this new Gundam, the Gundam GQuuuuuX, like a new mobile unit. And like the thing that's supposed to make it special is that it's designed to be used specifically by new types. It has a special type of combat system, the Omega Psycommu, which is like the Psycommu system is like the new type specific thing that helps them like enhance the mobile suit, effectively turns mobile suits into like damn near superhero type shit. And so his friend Chalia Bull is like looking for Char, and he's like been using his powers, doing everything good to find him. And finally they get like a hint of finding him. And so he sends out one of the pilots. He's like, hey man, get in the suit and stop the red Gundam. Like we gotta finally bring this Gundam in. And it just doesn't work for him. Like he tries the Omega Psycommu shit, and it just doesn't work for him the way he thought it would work. But at the same time, there's this young kid at this colony where the red Gundam is like at for a little bit. And it's this kid, Machu. And she's just like going through her day-to-day stuff. And what winds up happening is that a smuggler shows up, and like she runs past Machu and knocks her over. And like she knocks her over, wrecks her phone, and then just escapes. But what's happened is she left a hard drive in Machu's like backpack, and the hard drive is supposed to be for this thing they call clan battles. Clan battles are just like fights with mobile suits, but it's like beat up old mobile suits from the 1-year war. It's like relics fighting relics. Nobody really cares, and it's like kind of like an underground thing you're not supposed to be doing it in the first place. And so Machu winds up tracking her down because, you know, basically she wants like her phone fixed. She wants somebody to take responsibility for fucking up her phone and shit like that. And so what winds up happening is Machu meets the smuggler. The smuggler's name is Yan. And they together go to the clan battle area. And she's like, hey man, what are we gonna do about this? And Machu's just like a really great character so far. Like she's new, but I like the way that she acts because she just kind of acts like she owns the place everywhere she goes. Just kind of like, because I kind of understand where she's coming from, because she's like, hey man, I ain't want nothing to do with this. Y'all dragged me into this, so somebody go give me some solutions around here. And so like in the middle of her trying to get a solution to like her phone being messed up and find out about this clan battle stuff, the Gundam winds up crashing into their colony. And as it crashes in, basically, I think the Earth Federation, but they're like now using Zeon suits. I think that's what that is, but it could just be Zeon. They show up, and because they're like, they see the Gundams fighting, they're like, okay, well now we got to do something about it. But they're like dicks about it. Like the military police show up and they're dicks about it, and they like start pulling apart the buildings, trying to find like, you know, information and try to find like who owns those Gundams. I think they thought it was like a clan battle. And so like the weird thing is, this is like a poor area of town. Like this is where all the immigrants live. They don't have any money. They don't have any resources. And these cops are just tearing the area apart. And so Machu's like, man, this fucking sucks. I want to fight these guys. And so she hops into the clan battle mobile suit that the people she's with have, but it's like an old fucking junker. It's like a little shitty Xeon suit. She can't pilot it, so things just go badly pretty much immediately. But they crash into the area where the Gundam's being hidden, because the guy gets out of the Gundam after he has the fight with Char's red Gundam, and like he gets out, hides it, and she's like, "Oh, that looks stronger than this one." Jumps into it, and the Psychommu system activates for her, which means that she effectively gets to cheat her way into like being a not a good pilot, but enough of a good pilot to like basically beat the Xeon mobile suits, destroy them, and then as she's destroying them, she like flies off. She like kind of hovers out into space, and we see the red Gundam get away. And so then the second episode switches up things completely and shows you what happened in the 1 year war. Shows you exactly how Char found the Gundam, shows how he finds White Base and he like steals them, steals Gundam and White Base. I'm like, damn,
wow,
like, you just got away with all of it. I don't think Amuro's not there. I think they said the place was abandoned. I don't think Bright Noah was there because they didn't show him in the cockpit of the White Base. They didn't show any of that. So it's just like a bunch of scrubs. They all get killed. He takes the Gundam, and it's just like he's just running shit. And man, when I tell you this is like a love letter to classic Mobile Suit Gundam, like they kept the eye catch, they kept the sound effects, they kept the music. Everything is just like blatantly referencing all this stuff. It's just like a loving remake to show you like, okay, this is what it looks like in this timeline. And it was just so good. I had a smile on my face the whole time because like, aside from the change in the Gundam designs, it still very much looks like the 1 year war. It still very much looks like what Mobile Suit Gundam looks like, just with updated animation. And so it was just hype the whole time. Like I was just like geeked out that second episode. Can't wait for the third episode. Just a fantastic show. What winds up happening at the end of the second episode is that Char has like this big fight at the end of the 1 year war where he's trying to basically help direct the war into area where the Xeon can win. But unfortunately, he gets like an experimental version of the Psychommu tech, and it goes out of control. And like his new type powers go out of control, and then so he just vanishes. And the only time people see him is when he's like flying around randomly. But it doesn't matter because by that point, the Federation has lost enough just from like how good of a pilot he is, and like him showing up at key moments in the 1 year war with no Amuro to stop him. And so like the Federation eventually was like, all right, bro, y'all got it. They don't lose the war entirely, but they do sign a truce and basically say, man, y'all got it. We just gonna go to Earth. Y'all do whatever y'all want out here. And so that's where we leave off with the second episode. And I guess the third picks up with like back in the present day. And I'm looking forward to seeing that later next week. So yeah, great show. If you haven't seen it, if you like Gundam at all, especially if you like classic Gundam, I definitely recommend it. Definitely go out of make some time to watch it because it's good. Rakeem, what's your second show?
All right. So my second show is going to be actually I'm gonna switch gears on this because someone else might have this other one, but I gotta talk about this Guilty Gear anime, Dual Rulers. It is so weird. I don't know how to feel about this anime at all yet. Like I felt like the first episode I was a little like, I don't know about this. Second episode was a bit better. So I'm like, okay, but it feels like an anime that should just be in the game as a story mode, like they normally do. There's so many. I mean, Guilty Gear already has kind of a wild story, and I'm not as versed with Guilty Gear's storylines as I am with like most other fighting games. Like, I know what happens in Street Fighter. I know what happens in Mortal Kombat. I know what happens in Tekken. Guilty Gear is not in my wheelhouse as far as story. So it is really over the top. But the gist is like a long time ago, there was this between humans and these creatures that were man-made by humans called Gears. And the war lasted for a while. And Kai Kisuke, who was basically part of this police force to fight the Gears, meets the daughter of the king of the Gears, and they eventually create like a romantic relationship. And once the war is over, they get married, kind of unifying the two cultures to get away from that. In the midst of that, there is an uprising of or an attack on them from some people who are like, we don't fuck with Gears, bro. That's not happening. Like, this unification ain't happening. And Kai Kisuke and his wife get targeted. Something happens, and they just, I don't know, vanish. They are attack, go off in a flash of light. It's very strange. It's very strange. So the protagonist of this story is actually his son, Sin Kisuke, accompanied by Soul Bad Guy, the front runner of Guilty Gear. If anybody knows about Guilty Gear, the real main character to me. And Soul's basically like his mentor. He's older now. It's been years since the war happened when, Soul was like a knight back in the day or whatever, or was involved with the war. And he's basically mentoring Sin Kisuke. And Sin's kind of basically over the course of these episodes is like investigating what happened during this attack, who attacked them, and stopping it. And man, there's so many things wrong when you watch this. Like, they really save some. They tried to skin the cat on some of this animation budget. They'll have the 3D models, which actually look okay, and some of the scenes look all right. And then they'll just have like literal hand drawn steals, like not even like the way it's drawn. You're like, yo, what the fuck was that? Like, you see 3D models, and in the background you see they'll go to a sketch of just like some hand drawn steals, or you see characters not moving. Like, they used every animation trick you could use. Whatever their budget was, it was nothing. What's interesting about this show is the character, I think her name is Ovina or Ova or something like that, who is like the person who commits the terrorist attack against Kai Kisuke and his soon-to-be wife Dizzy. And she seems to have some powers of gears of some sort too. And then like in the first episode, you're kind of establishing all the characters. They give backgrounds to like, hey, this is what happened in the war. The first one's a lot of lore building. That's who this character is. This is what their war was. This is their state they're in now. And you kind of get to see a lot of different characters. You see Johnny early on. You see, like I said, Dizzy, Sin, Soul Bad Guy, some other characters. You see the president, the president of the United States, even though they're Japanese characters. It's very funny. In the second episode, there's an attack on the White House by the terrorist chick, and the president is talking to Soul Bad Guy. Thanks for helping me out again, man. You always got my back. I'm like, really? What's going on in this universe? If you don't know anything about Guilty Gear, this shit is crazy as fuck, man. Like,
look, I'm gonna be real with you. Even if you know about Guilty Gear, it's still crazy.
It was crazy. This man's Soul Bad Guy is on a first name, straight up talk basis with the president of the United States. They talk all the time. Like, Mr. President, what's up, man? Oh man, I appreciate you, man, coming through for me again, man. You that dude, man. I appreciate that. The first episode, like, I ain't gonna lie, I was a little late, but I did watch the second episode, and I will say the second episode is when like they stepped it up as far as the animation. They got to what I care about with Guilty Gear and fighting games in general, the action. In the second episode, the action looks much better. There's a fight between Sin and the Ovina chick, and they're fighting each other, and it's beautiful. There are legitimately great action scenes. They're fighting out of the White House. They're fucking up in the air. Sin uses like a flag as a weapon, and he's fighting this chick who got a gun, like this big transforming gun and shit. It's cool as hell. It's really cool. And then at the end of the episode, the second episode, when he saves the president, they show like a flashback that Sin and this new character might have some history, or they know each other in some way, and they hint at that as well. So the second episode builds on the story a lot better than I think the first episode did, and it's animated better. Because that first episode was a bit of a letdown. It was just really an interesting experiment because it seemed like this was completely made by was it made by the game developer itself? That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like when I'm watching this. Because it's definitely like the in-engine Guilty Gear cutscenes I'm used to seeing. And then the back, they make a lot of cost-cutting measures with some of the other stuff. But it's an interesting experiment. I don't know if it's all the way successful, but I am intrigued because I've always been interested in learning more about Guilty Gear. I just never took the time to do it. And the second episode was better than the first. So I'm gonna continue watching and see how much I like it. But I just wanted to bring it up because I don't know if a lot of people are watching this anime. So I just wanted to give it a chance, see if it was interesting. And you know what? Wasn't that bad.
Worked on by Sanzigen and Indeed Arc System Works. So
okay, yeah, it feels like that was their first foray. They kind of blended video game graphics with the animation engine. It does feel like that.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Devin, you're up next for the second pick.
The next one I'll talk about is Moonrise. That's one that when we talked about the anime list the last time was the spring 2025. That's one I was definitely interested in watching, and I did give the first two episodes a look. Man, first thing I'll say, this is, boy, they threw a bag at this one, because this is the animation and just the production is pretty wild. They was doing some things with this one, so it looks amazing. Definitely my type of stuff, sci-fi. I love sci-fi, and it's got a lot of that here. It's got some, from what I've seen so far, there's some, because the first episode was kind of one of those episodes where it's like you're seeing what's happening in the future, then they go like back to some stuff, and then they kind of back and forth. So I don't, fully know what's going on yet. Like, they showed these like robotic enemies giving off some heavy Terminator vibes. I know there's some like AI stuff going on here, like some global AI system. So I'm like, yeah, that's heavy, like almost exactly Skynet type thing going on. But it's the main protagonist. His name is Jack. He's part of the scout force. Like I said, the beginning of the first episode starts with, you see them on this train, and they're like, it's like they're going somewhere. They got all the battle gear on, and all of a sudden they get ambushed by these robots. And quite a lot of them. They're coming into the train. These things have like, they can contort their bodies, and they can like hack stuff. So the one of them like kind of hacks the train. But you soon see that these scouts, like what they can do. I don't know if it's just from like their training, but I think the suits might have something to do with it. They're doing a lot of stuff. They're like fighting these things like on par. So I'm like, okay, there has to be something here with these suits and this technology they have. They can like make these constructs kind of out of their technology. I'm like, this is kind of cool. And then they kind of go back to some flashes of Jack at like this ceremony. He's with like his parents. There's this thing that's about to happen. There's like so let me backtrack a bit. They live on Earth, if I'm not mistaken, and like the moon and the Earth have like this dichotomy. The moon is for like the rebels and stuff, and it's like used for resources for the Earth, which is also very similar to a movie called Elysium. Came out like, I think, mid 2010s, where people left on Earth were like just left to suffer and die and of old age and sickness, while people on Elysium basically just kind of like almost like Lazarus. They just couldn't get sick and stuff like that. They just were wealthy people.
But in this case, it's reversed.
Yeah. So on Earth, they're thriving. They're using the moon as resources. So something happens at this event, and like, I'm talking about a catastrophic event. Like, people die. His parents die. And they're like, okay, what in the world just happened? This was supposed to be a thing of like, success and victory, but like
they were creating a space bridge between Earth and the moon, like a giant space bridge.
That whole all this, it is just like crash, and it's like, okay. So later on, for some reason, people think that Jack has something to do with like the authorities show up, and they're like, hey man, what's going on, bro? We feel like, you're like, me of all people, like my parents got killed. I mean, I don't know why, why I would do something like that. I think on this episode, the rest of his scout teams, they were all like gathering together. This second episode more was so like showing them like they're driving in cars and like just through the city, just meeting
way
up.
In the future.
Yeah, way in the future. Definitely different than that first episode where it was like in space, they're fighting. You see all this crazy stuff going on. I'm definitely intrigued, man. Like, this one is, like I said, it's definitely in my wheelhouse. Sci-fi stuff going on. You got these AI taking over robots. You got this one figure, I forgot what his name is, but obviously you look at him and tell like, okay, he's a villain. He's one of those villains that's like, hey, almost like the guy from Lazarus again. It's like, hey, I'll do this for you. And it's like, bro, we already know if we accept this, you got some underhanded stuff going on in the background. So just keep it a buck with us. Like, we can look at you and tell. So there's definitely one of those characters like a villain where it's like, oh, I don't have to guess. I know you're a villain. Hopefully he won't be as garbage as what was his name? Man, he was so forgettable. I forgot his name from Lord of the Rings. What was his name? Trash Can?
Crow.
Crow. That was his name from Lord of the Rings.
You talking about the War Rohirrim, the dude that was trash.
Wolf.
Wolf. That's it.
See, exactly. We don't remember his name.
Such a cool name for such a garbage villain. It's like, I forgot. So hopefully he'll be a better villain than that. But yeah, man, like I said, man, the visual is a spectacle. Like, if you want a spectacle,
man,
they use some 3D. But I'm noticing, even with to be hero, some of these animes are starting to use much better implemented 3D, which I'm so happy because that 3D we had back when like that Berserk anime came out. I'm like, bro, I don't know what that is. So I need to leave that alone. Leave it where it's at. The only one I kind of accepted was King and Austria. It didn't look the greatest, but it was serviceable. It was okay. What I'm starting to notice that a lot of these animes are starting to really like kick it up with the CG implemented with the like the hand drawn animation stuff. And man, this one is a spectacle. So I can't wait to like get back into this and finish this one because it's like it's gonna be a wild ride.
Yeah.
If you want to add something, King.
Yeah, because I saw Moonrise too, man. I agree with you. It's definitely a spectacle. You mentioned the villain. It was an interesting dichotomy because once the attack happened on Earth, the villain materialized and just basically said, I did it. Like he projected himself across the entire world and on the moon and just say, hey, this shit y'all doing, the moon declares its independence. If you pay attention to the background, though, the people were with him because like they were all protesting when this was going on, and he was like speaking for them. So it's kind of showing that like, oh, there's more to this story. Because why are they so on his side? What has Earth been doing to them? That hasn't been fully explained. And on top of that, it's like a strong hint that Jack might not be from Earth. And that like they kind of hint early on that he was originally might be from the moon and came to Earth because he was adopted. And he had like a tragedy that happened to him. So there's a lot of interesting pieces going on in this show. This show it's got something going on. I like it.
I'm looking forward to checking out Moonrise later myself.
Very Gundam Colony Earth vibes.
Yeah.
Very much so
on that. Okay, so for my second choice, I'm gonna go with. I could go with Tailgonia, which is also a good choice. It's a solid little kind of isekai fantasy anime. Instead, though, we talk about isekai fantasy enough, so let's go with isekai sci-fi. Ooh. We've got I'm the evil lord of an intergalactic empire.
Oh, that one.
This show is it's trash.
Okay.
But I mean, like, it could be good trash, it could be, bad trash, depending on what you want. But it's definitely trash. First episode is very interesting in terms of a lot of flashbacks, flash forwards. It opens with them showing you like the main character at full power, doing whatever he wants with like his whole crew of course, super attractive women because every isekai somehow has a harem for some reason. Then it flashes back and it spends the rest of the episode showing you how the protagonist got to the life that he has right now. And it's a sad story, but it's also basically just an NTR plot. Terrence, you know what I'm talking about? is like, okay, so it starts out with the dude, and he's like a hardworking Japanese salary man. He going to work, and his job is trash, and his boss treats him like garbage, and his coworkers don't respect him. And the only thing he got in life that work out is his wife and kids. So you already know where this is going. So one day he's doing his little work thing, and he's just barely getting by. They don't even make a lot of money. And so he's doing his little work thing, but he has to go somewhere for some reason or other. But like what winds up happening is he winds up seeing his wife out in the middle of at a restaurant. He's like, that can't be right. And who's she meeting up with? He don't think too hard about it at first. He like, I'm gonna play it off. He asked the wife about it later. She kind of like, I don't know what you're talking about. Oh no, well, she was supposed to be taking their daughter to like a sword match. And he's like, well, how's the sword match? She was like, huh? Oh, it went fine. She did good at the sword match, this, that, and the third. And he's like, oh, okay, sure. And so he tries to play it off for a little while longer, but then he goes out again to try and see if he can see her again. And he does. He sees her out again, and this time with his daughter. And he's like, bro, what the fuck going on around here? So finally, he's like, all right, bet. He approaches her about it, and she like snaps on him. And she's like, look, man, I don't know what you're complaining about. Oh, I know what happens. His daughter gets into an accident. And he's like, oh, I don't know what are we gonna do? And so he goes down there to see about the girl, and they're like, oh, well, we need the blood type. And so like they both say they blood types, and then the dude's like, the mom is a match, you're not. She's got this blood type. And so he starts looking up the blood type information. He's like, the fuck she got that blood type? So finally, he's like, hey, man, what the fuck going on around here? And she was like, I don't know why you mad. I'm the one that should be mad. You've been broke this whole time. You'll never come see us. You always at work. You ain't about shit. And so, yeah, of course this ain't your daughter. And this, that, and the third. And so, like, he's like shocked. Just like, what are you talking about? She's like, nah, you promised me happiness, and I haven't had 1 second of happiness the day I've been with you, because all we ever do is struggle for money. I don't even know why you got that job. It can't do nothing for us. No way. I'm like, okay. And so, yeah, exactly. And so, like, he goes to his daughter. She's like, I'm finna leave, and I'm taking the kid. And he like, you're not going to take my daughter, even though this definitely ain't your daughter. But I guess at this point, he was attached. And he was like, you want to stay with me, right? And she's like, I prefer my other daddy. And it's like, L after L after L. So finally, he goes to work one day, and his boss is like, hey, man, what happened? Like, I need you to explain this. And it's like, turns out someone used his computer and transferred 50 million yen away to some imaginary company. Nobody knows where it is and what happened. And he's like, what?
This man.
L after L after L. What's the character's name?
Yeah. If you don't remember,
I don't know
about it. I was just gonna make a reference to what's that movie called? Something in the Terrible Awful Day or something along.
Man,
that's what pretty much what this dude was having.
He didn't Windows sign L. You got a lot, baby. That's the first.
They talked about that. He like ran out one time. Exactly. And so he was liable for it, and so they fired him and made him start to pay the 50 million back. To which I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you stole 50 million, because he like remembered, like, I left my computer on without like putting it to sleep or shutting it down, because earlier he tried to put it to sleep and it wouldn't go to sleep. And so he's like, man, what can I do? It won't go to sleep. And so he shut it down and he booted it back up, and his boss was like bitching at him for taking so long. And he was like, damn, why you taking so long? Just get back to work. And so, like, I guess this time he wanted to put it back to sleep, but didn't, and just left out. And so somebody took advantage of that. I would have snapped right then, because, like, after losing your wife and kid, and now somebody like, you going to pay back 50 million, I'd be like, look, somebody in this office is about to pay back this 50 million and tell me where it went, or I'm about to be $50 million out of my boss's ass. That's what's about to happen. But, you know, that's not how it works in Japan. And so, like, of course, he just put up with it and left. And so now, his wife uses that as an excuse to leave, take the kids, and still demand that he pays child support. He's got to pay back the 50 million yen, and he's working this shitty construction job, and he's just like struggling it out. And then at the last, he catches some kind of incurable disease, and he can't afford to go to the doctor and pay and like get it treated or nothing like that. Exactly, Terrence. It's so much trauma that it gets funny. It's no longer sad. It's just funny. And so, like, while he's on his deathbed, coughing up blood because he got, quote, that shit, unquote, he sees a vision. And in the vision, it shows him that it's actually his boss that cheated with his wife. And it's his boss's daughter. So, like, really just an NTR plot. I'm like, okay, we're doing too fucking much, but sure.
You're doing way too much.
Exactly. And so at the last moment, a dude shows up, like this guy named the Guide. He shows up and he's like, hey, man, you want to get a second chance in life? I know you've been done wrong here. I bet you would love a second chance. And he was like, yeah, I want a second chance. And living a good life is for suckers anyway. This shit's trash. Next time, if I get another opportunity, I'm going to live life the way I want to and put myself first and do things the way I want to do it. And I'm going to just be an evil overlord. And so the Guide's like, bet. Just pick the alternate world you want to go to, and I'll send you there. And so, like, he picks like a sci-fi world and goes there. And so it's like, yeah, you know, it's so great that I got a second chance. Except even the Guide is like, my nigga, I did all of this to like manipulate you and see you suffer even more. And now I get to feed off your suffering for the rest of eternity and this, that, and the third. And so that's supposed to be but like the plot twist there is that none of everything that he does that's evil works out for the like a net benefit good for everybody. Like no matter what evil shit he does, it helps other people. And so like not only does it help other people, but because it helps them, it helps him in turn because it just makes him look like such a good guy, even though he's just doing life the way that he wants to do it. And so like he's all thanking the guide that's sitting there over and over again, and the guide feeds off negative emotion, hatred, despair, all that shit. And every time he thanks the guide is like, fuck, I'm losing energy. And so like that's where like the gimmicks and the comedy comes in. And so the second episode is basically, I almost quit the second episode because it was so bad. Because the second episode opens up with him being asked to choose like this android, but they get a little bit too detailed with this little maid android. It's like, hey man, choose what a titty's gonna look like. Choose the nipple look. Choose what the vagina gonna look like. I'm like, okay, man, cut this shit off.
Yo,
Like they literally say that?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And the worst part is it's like his mom that's telling him to do all of this. But like, it turns out his parents are trash too. He's like been reincarnated as like this, an actual noble lord over like a planet or whatever, and like a more than a planet, like a couple planets. But they're like shit. They're shit at their job, right? They're so shit at their job that they haven't paid taxes, they owe money, they don't know how to run a kingdom, they don't know how to do any of that shit. And so it's like, all right, well, fuck, what do we do? We'll just sign it over to him, sign all the rights, all the responsibilities, all the tax debts, everything over to him, and we'll get him to give us an allowance, and then we'll just vanish. And so they just leave him to figure it all out on his own. But he turns out to be kind of smart. And like he also relies on the power of this AI bot that he got, like the maid robot. And the maid robot has her own knowledge of governance. And so she starts to help to turn shit around while he like teaches himself more about governing and shit like that. And the real, because this is what the first 3 episodes kind of aired all at once, like a month or 2 ago. And the reason why is because it's all leading up to show you like, okay, this is how the story is going to go. And like, this is why how the character works the way that he works. At one point, he calls in like a noble, and the noble is clearly corrupt and skimming shit off the top and like robbing people. And he was like, at first on some evil shit, he was like, yeah, I like that. You on that evil shit just like I am. But then he found out like, wait a minute, hold on, you stole some money and then blamed a subordinate for it, and then got that subordinate killed. He said, oh no. Something about to go down right now. And the dude was like, nah, it was just some subordinate. It was just some lackey. He was like, so that's how you do. You steal money from somebody else and make them take the responsibility for it. He was like, bro, you can't do this to me. And protagonist, who at this point, his name is Liam in this new world, his Liam Banfield. At this point, he was like, oh, this how you gonna get down? Bet. And he just like cuts the dude's head off. And so he like kills the corrupt noble, which starts to like raise his whole people's opinion of him. And you start to see like, okay, that's how he's going to like, that's how it's going to go. Him just constantly trying to do the evil thing. But his idea of evil is just a net benefit for everybody else. And so it's a very weird show. But like the first 3, like by the time I got to the end of the 3rd episode, I was like, okay, I'm curious enough to check out 4. So that was cool. Terrence, I believe it's on you for the second and last pick.
I have to say, first off, that's a wild ride that you just took us through. It
was a wild ride.
Interesting.
Right?
It seemed like they went out of their way to do everything that they could to make this guy's life as miserable as possible. That way you root for him being evil, I guess.
I mean, even at the end, I was like, it felt like the difference between a weak man and a good man.
Mm.
Like he was so mad, and I'm like, it's because you were a doormat. You had the opportunity to stand up for yourself, and you never did. Mm. And so, like, you blamed it on everybody else, and you like, oh, now I'm gonna be evil. I'm like, that's who you were. So.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah. So the anime that I'll talk about that I really enjoyed, and I'm gonna stick with this one throughout the season, is Rock is a Lady's Modesty. This one really surprised me with how good it actually ended up being. For one, usually when it comes to these musical anime, especially if they involve female characters, you can go like down the K-On! Or like the Bocchi the Rock path, where with K-On! It's like cute girls doing cute things in the dang it, what's the studio that does that? Not Key, but shoot. Dang, I'm blanking on the studio that did K-On! Same studio that did like Violet Evergarden.
About the anime?
Yeah, the anime. dang it, anyway.
Kyoto Annie.
Kyoto Annie. Yeah, Kyoto Animation. Pretty much that's just that was their thing in like the early, not early 2000s, but kind of like late 2000s, 2010s was kind of like they'd have shows like K-On! Of course, you had Lucky Star in the 2000s and whatnot. And then you have, of course, Bocchi the Rock, which is over the top and goofy, but in a very endearing way, and it's just comedic gold. With this, it doesn't take either of those directions. It's not cute girls doing cute things, nor is it like overly comedic. It actually takes itself pretty seriously. So the story revolves around this main character. I'm gotta look up her name just to make sure I don't mess it up. Lilisa is the main character. She goes to this private girls academy where essentially they're taught to be, as the title would suggest, like proper ladies. You learn more about Lilisa. You find out that she actually married into like this higher status family. Like her mom married into this higher status family, and as a result, that's the reason why she's going to the school. And she's essentially forced. I guess I could say forced, is that the burden is on her to try and present herself as high of a status lady as she can. You okay? Okay, just make sure you ain't struggling over there. Yeah, but anyway, she wants to do right by her family and do right by her mom. So she knows she needs to attend this school and become like what they call in this world. They have like what's called like a noble woman or like noble lady, which is like the highest status to aspire to. And so she wants to become that, and by attending the school, she tries to do everything right. She tries to learn English. She's like at the top of her class, and she's trying to be the best of the best. Like all her classmates see her in a favorable light and everything, but behind all that, she really doesn't like it. She wishes that she could stay home instead of having to go to the school and just kind of like be just a regular girl. And there's hints over these 2 episodes that her actual dad, before her mom married into this new family, was a musician, and she was totally a girl's dad. Like that's the reason why she knows how to play the guitar and everything. And she was much happier with that life, but because her mom, for whatever reason, we don't know what happened to the dad. We don't know if he passed away or whatever, but she left him and joined this and married into this new family. And so she essentially like abandoned everything that she loved before to try and do right by her mom and attend this academy. And so it's just to kind of keep this all condensed so it's not too long. She ends up running into this other character who she's also like considered like one of the top of her class, and someone that a lot of the girls in the school really like, someone who's really popular. She finds her in this classroom, and she's playing the drums, and she's like, that's not a very ladylike thing to do, is like play the drums and everything. And she comes there and they have like a conversation back and forth and whatnot. And essentially the girl that's playing the drums, she kind of goads her into getting on the guitar, and they end up rocking out together. And it's kind of like such a spur of the moment thing that the main character, Lilisa, while she really enjoyed herself, she doesn't want to fall back into that world again, because she knows that will easily, suck her in and take her away from her main goal. So the second episode is essentially her trying to avoid the other character and not cause that interaction again. And by the end of it, she goes back and she kind of questions the other girl, because the other girl seems like she's from a proper family. She's, I believe, the daughter of like a high-ranking politician and everything. And she asks her, like, why would somebody like you be in here playing the drums? Like something that's not considered like a very ladylike thing to do. And she tells her that this is the place where I can be the person that I want to be without having to put on airs or anything like that. I don't have to think about being a lady. I don't have to think about my family, rich, poor, anything like that. I'm just in the moment of playing these drums and really enjoying myself. And she's like really good at the drums, just like our main character. She's really good at the guitar. And so after hearing that, she decides that she wants to kind of challenge her musically again one more time, like the other girl playing the drums versus her playing the guitar one more time, and kind of have like this, I guess, this power struggle between each other to see who's really the best at their instrument. And so that's the cliffhanger that's left off on episode 2 going to episode 3. And I'll just say so far, like, I really like this anime. Like, I think that it's quite good. Like, the animation is good. When they do play the instruments, they do go into CG, kind of like what they did with Blue Giant. But the movie Blue Giant, for those that don't know.
We reviewed, by the way.
Yeah, which we reviewed. Check that out. But it's one of those things where, I mean, when it comes to 2D animation and movement, you know, it's much easier to do with 3D. And when you're playing instruments, that kind of stuff is harder to animate, especially for like a week by week show. So I get why, but just know that sort of thing is in there. But it's not like too big of a distraction or anything like that. The characters themselves, they are really good so far. The main character, you really feel for her because you know she wants to do right by her mom and kind of like put aside the stuff that she grew up with to ultimately grow into this person that she knows everybody else wants her to be, but secretly she just doesn't want that. And her meeting this other character hopefully will kind of change her mind and realize like, hey, either maybe I can do both, or in the end, I just don't want this lady stuff. I just want to play really good music. And the way that they talk about it, they make it seem like the two girls, along with two other characters, which they show in like the openings and the endings, of course, like they're going to eventually become like this huge band at the end of the show. And this is kind of you just seeing how things develop, like the whole story of it. But yeah, no, this show is really dope. If you like music anime, I definitely recommend it. Like I said, it's not like K-On! Or it's not like Bocchi the Rock where they're like, you know, more comedic or more like cute girls doing cute things. This one seems to take itself pretty seriously for the most part. It still has like some anime isms too, of course, but it's nothing that's like over the top or like off-putting to like a casual in any way. So yeah, if you like this sort of thing, I'd recommend Rock as a Lady's Modesty. It's on High Dive, which, I mean, you know, if you don't have that, there are other ways. I'll say that to find it.
I'm glad
There's
you
always
picked,
another way.
I'm glad you picked that. I wanted to check it out myself. I wanted to hear from somebody about it. What were you gonna say, Rakeem?
Oh, I just said there's always other ways. I agree.
I mean,
It does sound really cool, and it's very contrasty with like a lot of stuff that's out this season.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty dope.
Yeah.
All right, that's gonna wrap this week up. Let us know what anime you're watching for the spring season in the comments below. And if you're new to us and like this episode, I need you to hit the like button, subscribe, tell your friends about us, and do me a personal favor. Have an excellent week. Peace.